Okay, so today we are going, since it's Chinese New Year next week,
Yes,
and then it's Ramadan pretty shortly after, which
correct.
also coincides with Lent.
Yes.
Yeah. So we thought we'd talk about how this affects sustainability.
Yep.
Um, and actually, it does affect it quite negatively because we don't. Because yeah, it's actually a mixed message. We think it's a cultural, it's a nice thing that's happening, but we also
Yep.
participate in some really bad behaviors, and one of them being consumerism. And
Yes.
I think somehow that gets dampened down because it is a festival, and
Yep.
we're not really. So maybe we dig into that a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have a what's that? Is that me or you?
Hmm?
I hear like a rustling sound. Oh, that's probably me. Is that me?
Rustling sound. Maybe what you're hearing is my beach. The ocean is right there. It's like 10 meters away from me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
turn the camera around. It's just that it gets very overly the
Yeah,
contrast gets
you're
off.
sort of bleached out of is yeah, you're okay. All right. So I have a couple of facts. So one thing that we don't really uh you know, Chinese New Year, what we're not really taking uh note of is actually it's become a huge business, you know? Well, I
Yep.
have this, I'll send you this thing if you're gonna write the article. In 2025, over 2 billion people participated in Chinese New Year celebrations,
Yep.
generating an estimated 1.5 trillion in global consumer spending. China served as the primary engine of this surge, while Southeast Asia emerged as a regional e-commerce hub during the
Yep.
festive period across multiple sectors.
Yep.
Uh, Consumer goods, services, travel, and logistics all recorded notable growth during the 8-day Lunar New Year holiday. Consumer related
Yep.
industries saw a 10.8% increase in average daily sales revenue. Spending on consumer goods rose 9.9% year over year.
Yep.
Spending on services increased 12.3% year over year. It's becoming like Christmas, you know.
I think it is I think it is the infatuation of being in the scarcity mode that we feel it's so important to show that we're celebrating well,
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
have to overdo and outperform and flash as much as we can as a comparison with somebody else. And I think this comes from a very scarcity based mindset.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I would even
Yeah,
say that actually they want a contrast to their normal life. Their normal life is probably,
correct.
you know,
So if
it's
normal
quite
life is already lavish, then this has to be one up of
yeah.
that.
No, I mean, normal life is probably quite difficult. It's a grunge, you know. It's the
To some,
daily, the day to day of. So this becomes this big push. People will travel, they will shop, they will
yeah,
buy, they will eat, they will, you know.
yeah.
Um, so we're seeing it at various levels. I was sort of, I said last week I'm sort of researching about uh Kuei, so I was sort of looking at
Mm,
Chinese New Year Kuei and when I was looking at it, it was like Chinese New Year Kuei has entered like a whole new category.
yes.
There's actually quite a lot of innovation. There's something I saw called croissants. You know what?
Yes. What?
It's a cross between what and a croissant. And
What's on? I like.
ingot shaped croissants went
Wow.
viral on Chinese social media, filled with lobster, Mornay, Samariette, taro, and pistachio. So it's become like a
Shit.
aspirational. It's a bit like mooncake sort of doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Mooncake went through that revolution for sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think we are also seeing this now in we just they just want to increase their participation in this sort of
Yeah.
global consumption thing. So
So
I
my
guess, yeah, good.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So I think one danger here is there is no pushback because it's not considered nice to say don't do it because, hey, it's our New Year, it's a festival. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah. I feel like for me personally, because I have lots of relatives and cousins who are Muslim, and it has almost become like it's become like how to say ritual to celebrate the fasting season with having a buffet dinner with your family, where you probably do it once a year anyway. With For somebody's birthday, you go out for dinner.
Mm.
But now it's become like you have to go as a family for a family buffet at a hotel or a restaurant and eat like as much as you can, at
It,
this buffet because you paid so much for it.
it's also
And
corporate.
I feel like my upbringing in the 80s and the 90s, it was you pick something you like today, you eat it at breakfast, and the intention of that you buying something that is unique, which happens once a week, is you have a sense of gratitude. You
Sure.
feel, wow, I fasted the week. It was basic hostel food for the week, and then that one day that you get to go to the bazaar Ramadan, you eat something that you paid money for, and it's like the flavor hits your taste buds, and you go like, and you feel satisfied, and you feel grateful that you have the money to go and buy something that you felt like eating, that you had a craving for, and
Sure.
I feel like that value doesn't exist anymore, and I feel that's so sad because that's the
Actually,
fundamentals of fasting.
let's return to that because that sort of is a setup for like what should it be? Okay,
Yeah.
let's finish talking about what it has become because um so Chinese New Year there's this vast consumerism. So what is it like in Hari Raya? Because that's not I don't really know enough about it. Do you see people spending in different? You know what I do see? I actually see a very siloed citizenry. Like I never get invited to Hari Raya anymore. The only people that invite me to Hari Raya are my workers.
Right.
So I go for a very humble Hari Raya, and yet on my Facebook timeline with my Facebook Muslim friends, I will see them all dressed up. So it's very family. It's very closed.
Mm-hmm.
I see them really operating within their own closed communities. Whereas my experience growing up was these were opportunities for actually our multicultural communities to sort of
Yeah.
integrate. We'll go to the neighbors. Uh,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. So I only go to I'm only invited to two two places. One is my workers,
Mm.
and then the other one is my friend for Valley.
Right, right, right.
So I don't actually, I no longer, I personally don't celebrate the festive. And then at Christmas,
People go to your place.
I invited a few friends over,
Yeah.
but it's very casual. It's really,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just a very small little, and I like that. I like the idea of just
The
returning
intimacy, yeah.
something quite human. In fact, that's something I just want to say, which is what I do. I I really struggle with the amount of time investment in festivals and holidays and whatever. So I don't put my birthday online. I don't want people to
Yeah.
be wishing me. I don't want to be wishing them because if they wish me, I wish that them. And then there's like thousands of Deepavali cards and Hari Raya cards and Christmas cards, and I'm probably like an old grumpy Grinch character that I just
Yeah.
refuse to participate because I just think it takes
Yeah.
up so much energy and time, and for what?
For
You
sure.
know? I
I
just
think I think the other thing about, so if we look back at the history of all these celebrations,
yeah,
it you can imagine people live far apart, you know? You
yeah,
can imagine everybody was working very hard in labor centric jobs where they didn't have phones to communicate with each other how people were doing, besides writing the odd letter, given you can write and read and can afford
yeah.
postage, right? So that's the history of like how people came about celebrating. And then they'd go to their neighbors, and then they would go to their in-laws, and all of these were privileges, right? To be
Yeah.
able to celebrate and buy new clothes and, dress nicely and visit, go visiting your relatives and your elders and, show off your baby, or like somebody was
Sure.
sick and you go and take this time to go and visit the sick, and, to bring food from your home to somebody else's home. It was like the day that everybody was probably at home or went to the masjid and met their relatives,
Yeah.
in the Islamic
Yeah,
context.
it was actually
So,
quite family. I mean, I remember like my
yeah,
Christmases, we would all travel to either my grandparents in Muar, my grandparents in Kuala Lumpur,
there you go.
and
Yeah.
it would be quite a big deal. Uh, it would sometimes be a big party.
Mm,
We ate very specific things that
yeah.
were only eaten at
That
that
was
time of
that
year.
was more ritualistic, right? So the Chinese
Yeah,
have this
yeah.
thing
No,
too.
no, yeah, yeah.
So
It
the
wasn't
Chinese,
ritualistic. It was just a kind of cultural habit. For example,
yeah.
we used to eat like we would eat like that once a year. We would eat tinned vegetables like asparagus,
Oh,
tinned
nice.
asparagus. It's like a special because they were like really expensive. Whereas now it's like
Yeah.
considered like it's like poor people food or or it's like garbage food. But then it was like, and another one was like, do you remember like tins of chocolate almond?
Yeah.
Tins of chocolate almond only at Christmas. You know,
Yes. Yes.
we
Yes.
would
Yes. Yes.
only
Yes.
get it then. You know,
Yeah.
so, so
No, I
that
think. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, so I was reading this, or I watched it on a reel a couple of days ago about how poor people food, Vanessa. You poor people food, like a lobster, used to be poor people food. And
yeah
then when they sold it to urban people coming to the, to the coast as
yeah
like, oh, this is like a delicacy, blah, blah, blah. And then rich people, urban people started eating it. And then the price of lobster went, insane. And at one point, lobster, for instance, was like written into a slave's contract that they cannot eat lobster more than 3 times a week. That was it was perceived as the insect of the ocean or some nonsense like that. But today, lobsters like expensive and in demand. So I guess value of things change based on the way perception has formed over time.
sure.
And I think,
It's like
yeah,
fish head curry. I don't like fish head curry. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? I don't know how people got
I
convinced.
don't think it's an Indian thing. Yeah, fish
Huh?
head curry was commercialization of Indian food.
Maybe.
And then it went straight into curry kepala ikan before it became anything else.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
never ate it. It was just never.
Exactly.
It was thrown
Yeah.
away, right? The only time you ate it was if the fish was small and you were like
Haha.
maybe when you deep fry
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
fish, you would eat a little bit of it. Yeah. But but to go even further back in terms of just like um, what is the meaning of these festivals? I mean, a lot of
Right.
them were actually about. I mean, like Christmas and Chinese New Year were both actually about surviving the winter, right?
Yeah.
And it was about the coming of spring, the end of
Yep, yep, yep.
winter. We use evergreens to
The
celebrate
sun is back.
the
Celebrate the
that
sun
we
is
made
back.
it through
Yeah.
the winter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The wreaths were the circle of life. It's like
Yep.
it was very, very even like Chinese New Year crackers. I've actually got a great book about the symbolism of Chinese plants, which
Oh,
the Chinese themselves have completely forgotten about because
really?
because it's been completely usurped by this whole idea of Ong,
Okay.
which is actually a poor man's concept about symbolism.
Okay.
Because they're obsessed with something representing wealth and money, which actually,
Yeah.
to me, it just seems a bit crazy. It's like, why would you need to rely on something that was yellow in color to make you prosperous this year when, prosperity comes from your brilliance at innovation, creating a
Okay.
product,
So
or
this is
running a
this is about,
company, or managing a great business, or whatever,
yeah, but this is about, you must imagine when our forefathers
Yeah,
developed this sense of iconology and goal setting. It's a
yeah,
goal setting, yeah. that they want to earn more gold. They did not have gold.
Yeah.
They are imagining what the emperor is receiving
Yeah.
because your state is sending gold to the emperor. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you aspire. You never had it. But the
Yeah.
problem is, as we progress generationally, we are diaspora of our own culture. And we are still, imbibing those original goals. So
But
it begins money
my
before, we
issue
still
is
need money now.
no, my issue with
And then
that
in
is
the Chinese culture,
yeah.
if you think of like when Hungry Ghost Festival, what are they burning? Ingots again, paper money again. You get
Yeah.
what I mean? So it is,
Yeah, but my issue with that is where's the why you're college educated now. You're 3 generations of college
yes,
education now. Why is there no critical analysis? I mean, at some point you got to start thinking, well, this is a little
I
crazy. I don't need, because
yeah.
it still is. It's like on, yellow, 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 go, go, go. It's
No,
like,
even
why
the
are
food.
you
So
so
Lyman,
frightened of the fact that if you don't do it, it's somehow going to disappear? It's sort of it's worrying to me.
I don't think that that's so much the fear, as in it's the fun of, it's the joy
It's not
of
joy. I don't think it's joy.
doing something familiar.
I don't think so. I think it's driven by a
Really
kind of a poverty mindset that's built on fear. It's a scarcity
possible. I
mindset.
think the
Yeah,
goal one, yes.
yeah,
But in terms of like Lyman's family, right?
yeah,
When they celebrate Chinese New Year, um, it's fair to say that they barely eat pork. They eat pork, but it's not something they have every day on the table. It's not even once a week on the table. It's very seldom for a Chinese family, but they don't eat a lot of pork. But Chinese New Year, they will make pork knuckles because his dad loves pork knuckles. Okay? Everything else on the table will have some association to wealth, like prawns,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
some mushroom. So they're all symbolism of prosperity,
yeah,
you know? But they cook it in dishes that they absolutely love. All the members of
yeah.
the family like these dishes. And they will actually vote for which dish gets on the table this year. So maybe it's their culture as a family because his
Well, I
dad
mean,
wanted
my
to
my
pork
point is,
dish.
my point actually comes arise from the
Yeah.
fact that I had some Japanese friends. And one year I went to a Japanese friend New Year party, and they have symbolic food.
Yeah.
And what was quite interesting is that their symbolism was much more sophisticated. It was much more. There
But
was
it's Japan
more.
lah.
It was not about food. I mean, it was not about money. One item, yes, prosperity, but there was also things like there was like a thing that was
Health.
scroll that means about knowledge. This
Right.
year, this year you're going to develop, your knowledge. Another one was there's something with black beans. Black beans
Yep.
is to show a multitude of society.
Right.
You must
Diversity.
look
Right.
after it's not just you. You are part of a
Yep.
bigger number of people. So
Right.
I,
Right.
I
Right.
feel like that's what's missing because I think these festivals are supposed to be moments when we contemplate these sort of things. Like I said
For sure.
before, when it was winter, it's about, oh, yes, we survived. It's about longevity. It's about
Yep.
ability to persevere and stuff like that. I just worry that now it's become this obsession with money, you know, about
I
on
feel like they've lost
prosperity.
vocabulary. In all honesty, I feel they've lost the vocabulary because in Lyman's family, and I can say Lyman's family because I've been with them for 20 years.
Okay.
When they do yisang, when they toss the
Yeah.
yisang, the vocabulary his auntie will use is
Yeah.
very broad. For wealth, for health, for wisdom, for kindness, for longevity, she has like, and it's poetic. But most
I
people
think
don't know how to
okay,
use the
I think
yisang
maybe
here
Lyman is a little bit unicorn, like they're
because
richer.
his grandparents, his
Yeah,
mother's parents were first generation from China, so they still have that culture.
maybe,
You
yeah.
know, yeah,
And also they're richer, right?
middle
Whereas
class.
whereas I never hear any of that. Now you go find you even if you go to a fairly wealthy middle class person's event, it's obsession with ong and prosperity and money and what money
Yeah,
come, gold come. It's like they're just terrified it's gonna stop and if they don't
yeah, yeah.
do something about it. And I say this because I really
You're
feel
right.
that there needs to be some kind of cultural leadership here in that community, which is not happening. That says, you know, chill, you know? because what we haven't talked about is actually what does this cost us? All of this, there's a problem with this, because it's not about quality of experience a lot of the time. It's like I went to the supermarket the other night, and at this time of year, the week, 2 weeks, now it's like months before the festival. The
Yeah.
biscuits and the treats are from floor to 9 feet. It's a wall of plastic bottles full
Yes.
of pineapple tart, cookies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which you're you're talking about not only overconsumption about food, you're also
Yeah.
talking about plastic containers. You're
Yeah.
talking about a lot of palm oil being used in all the manufacture of it.
Yes.
Conveniently described as vegetable oil, not palm oil.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but there's this, and people just have like if you go to somebody's house, actually that's anyone now. Even if you go to a Malayan's house, there's just these bottles. There's a whole table full of plastic bottles of things for you to snack on. Whereas, like say in the '60s, things were never in a bottle. It was on a plate. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it was measured. It was carefully put out. You
Yep.
know,
It was tins. It was
yeah,
in tins. Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like, to your point about like the mass production of cookies, a lot of that isn't going to get consumed.
yeah,
A lot of that,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think it will all sell
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah.
And and that's just the food stuff, right? Imagine all the decorations that are being created, not just
And
for
the,
Chinese New
and
Year.
the
You're
decorations is
talking about Christmas,
decorations
you're
is
talking about
also
New Year's. Yeah.
decorations is also something new for the Chinese. Like this last time, I noticed. Wow,
Yep.
I never noticed so much Chinese decoration for Chinese New Year. Like
No, because
lamp,
in the
Chinese
past,
lampshades and
yes.
all this was not before. It was just like maybe a paper scroll or you know,
Yes, I
you
was
know what
just
I
gonna
mean?
say. So they would
Yeah,
write a New Year wish
yeah,
on a paper scroll, and they would hang
yeah,
it outside the door, on the left and the
yeah,
right of the door. They'll have a single. Hi, the door's this way. They'll have a single scroll, a red color scroll that runs
yeah.
over the front door, and they will have typically they make the lanterns out of the previous year Chinese New Year packets. You know those red ampao? They will staple it together and they'll make a lantern. And it's really nice because I remember as a kid when we were in school, that's what we would do for crafts class, for art
Yeah.
class. We would make the lanterns out of the ampao packets. But
And
today,
something something
very
that
few
I
people do it.
something that I noticed because uh now an easy way to buy decoration is actually go to the nursery. So
Eh?
about 2 months before Chinese New Year, you go to the nursery. Everything is red, orange, gold, yellow, no blue or white. Okay, like a sea of all this red color,
Holy God. Okay.
and then orange trees, kumquat trees, mandarin orange trees, all with red bows.
Wow.
It's a big business. It's a big business of people, and that's what I mean. It's like somebody needs to have a break on this. Like, hey, hang on a minute. Do we need all of this? What is this
Yeah.
about in the first place? I don't know. It's
It's very hard. So the way I look at it, you know how I talk about life cycle of things? I feel like to a large extent, the people who are celebrating and consuming this at a ridiculous rate are very young in the life cycle of things. It's their
maybe,
first time consuming
yeah,
it,
yeah,
or they've done this for the last 5 years and they feel good about being able to present themselves this way.
yeah.
I feel they're going to fatigue, number one. Number two, I think Gen Z is not going to
Mhm.
buy into this. I think Gen Z is going to be like, let's simplify, let's coolify, let's, you know, tighten the symbolism around this. And I think Gen Z will start to change this narrative. Because, last year's Hungry Ghost Festival,
Uh-huh.
I remember watching a reel or reading something about how instead of sending their ancestors like, food items that will rot, they would send like food that they would eat. Like, hey, grandma, this is like a burger from Burger King. They'll put it up and they'll eat it themselves because it's so expensive. So they
Right.
buy a nice meal for the grandparents. They'll
Ah,
put it out on the
do an
altar and
offering
then
and
they'll eat
then
it
eat it.
themselves. Yes. So it's like you're
Yeah,
sharing,
yeah,
So
yeah.
that switch the narrative a little bit. Like in our generation, we would not think of eating what we put up on the altar.
Okay,
You
so
get what I
what
mean?
what I'm noticing is the Chinese New Year thing, which is sort of a little
Yeah.
bit unfair because I I've left the West and I saw this, this was actually what was happening in the West as well. In the West, all things were already starting to get crazy, and I'll tell you something even crazier I read today,
Mm.
was that Christmas was starting to happen the day after um, Thanksgiving. You know,
Okay.
yeah, the day after Halloween, Thanksgiving something
Starts.
starts, and then the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas starts. So the music in stores, and then like now if you watch something on TikTok or if watch something on YouTube, they have 7 Christmas trees in the house
Why?
because they want one in every room. They just love that whole idea of Christmas so much that they want because there is
Okay.
there's something cutesy about it. They decorate, they're decorating, and yeah. So I've seen people with a Christmas tree in every bedroom, you know.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, and here's
Does it
this.
come with a whole lot of presents too?
Okay, so here's what I read today. There's something called Christmas creep, and the article is titled something like "Christmas creep is real," where Christmas is now creeping further and further back. So there's even
Uh,
Christmas in July.
oh God. Okay. So contrast to this, right? The counterpoint is this: as our celebrations include obviously led by Christmas, because Christmas is a creation of Coca-Cola. Christmas creep's counterpoint is uh world what's that? The day where we consume all the resources we have generated for the year. What's the name of that day?
I don't know. What is that?
Okay, hang on. I'm googling it on the other phone. Okay, yeah. So that day is the day we have reached in the year that we've consumed all the capacity of the planet to produce resources for the year. So sometimes we hit that day in August, and that day is creeping forward as all these celebrations are creeping forward.
And then with Christmas, there's the present giving, which is also seeped into other cultures. People want to give each other presents at Chinese New
Yeah.
Year. It's like, and it's not just one present. It's like,
Overshoot Day. That's what it's called.
okay, so
World Overshoot Day.
so there's, so
Yeah,
now
it's
there's,
moving
now,
forward.
so now there's your big present, your tree present, your stocking present.
Yeah.
It's now become a consumerist activity. You know,
Yes. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I, you know, I, I know it sounds like we're being bad guys, being critical about this, but I think at some point there needs to be some kind of critical analysis of this. I mean, I'm not saying we should lose because if we could actually understand how it sort of started, it was a day of
Yeah.
contemplation and celebration of probably hardship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? A
And
difficult
I think that
winter.
gratitude
Yeah,
was part of the celebration.
yeah,
So if you lose gratitude, then you lose your boundary of, what are you celebrating? Is it for the sake of celebrating? Is it to show off you're celebrating? And that's where we end up wasting so much because we are just doing what we can with what we have. There's no control, there's no limit, there's
yeah,
almost no purpose, no spirituality to it anymore. It's just an action to be done.
yeah. And also
Yeah.
Christmas
So
was like you would maybe do good. You would go to a soup kitchen, or you would help out, or give alms to the poor, hand out coats,
yep.
winter coats and stuff like that.
Mm. So the Muslims will argue that we give zakat.
Okay.
So zakat is a mechanism of recognizing your wealth, how much your income is, and how much gold and property you have, and you pay how to say, a social tax to the state to redistribute to the poor.
Who calculates that? You
The
do?
state.
Oh,
The
the state
state
calculates.
calculates that. Yeah. So basically, you tell them your income, you tell them your number of dependents, and you tell them uh, how much wealth you have, and then they will tell you how much you give for this. And the state is responsible to redistribute the wealth. So it was very, very successful during the Khalifa states in like in Turkey, in Egypt, in the past. It was very, very successful. And it leveled out poverty from being hardcore poor to just being seasonally poor because there was a drought, or there was famine and stuff like that. So the state would like give you almost like a universal income, almost like to help you stay afloat and support your family, and probably even um sustain your farming practice and stuff. So as we have evolved, these rules haven't changed very much, but the way it's been dispensed has been not effective or efficient. And it's very hard to criticize because it becomes a religious debate. When I'm not questioning the religion, I'm questioning the system that we are putting in place to redistribute this wealth,
I think in
because it is
general,
wealth.
I think in general, our conversation is actually problematic because of this. It's
Yes.
hard. It's hard to actually talk about it. It's hard to
Mm.
be. When we criticize, it's actually analysis. We're kind of analyzing it from a very specific lens. Is it overconsumption? Is it waste?
It's yeah,
Is it
yeah.
necessary? Is it actually walking away from the real reason you're supposed to be doing it? What?
Correct. No,
For
and the thing is,
example,
right, all
yeah,
religions and all cultures are oral. We have an oral tradition.
sure,
And the oral tradition is about discussion. It's about dialogue. It's about um, people stating their needs, and then a quorum of people who are qualified to assess and weigh out how do we solve the problem and meet the needs of the people. And are those needs realistic? Or are they just not trying other options? So there used to be these councils of people who make these decisions. But now we have almost outsourced this thinking to a checklist of things.
yeah,
Are you of this age? Are you of this status? Is this your income? So tick, 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 and then this is the outcome. But this process maybe works for a majority of problems, but there's also a lot of outlying problems that require that quorum again to make human decisions, to bring in wisdom, and to make these very subtle but highly impactful decisions. And I feel, in terms of questioning how we are currently practicing our celebrations, I don't know, just a fatwa coming out to say that, oh, we shouldn't this or we shouldn't that,
mm,
feels too basic. It
yeah,
feels too generalized, and Islamic fatwa is a tedious process to make, but I feel like it's not being considered very well. And that's, if you look at Islam and you look at the purpose of a Friday prayer. The Friday prayer is a communal gathering where people come together, they listen to a sermon that's meant to reflect the development of the community of that place. It's very similar to going to church on a Sunday.
mm,
It comes from very similar backgrounds with very similar intentions. And then you go away from your masjid gathering and you try to imbibe what you've heard, and you try to improve for the week and better still carry it forward, over time. And then that's how your community will develop. So on the prayer where you go for Eid, on the day of Eid, on the morning, that also has a sermon. And that sermon typically talks about the reflection of the prayer, the
yeah,
smayang, for the 21 for the month that you fasted. There are like a 21, 22 rakaat prayer that you do, tarawih, and that was meant to be part of your spiritual journey. So on Hari Raya, you stop doing taraweh. The night before Raya, you stop taraweh.
So
So
actually,
all of these culminates
yeah.
on
So actually,
that day.
one factor we should sort of call out here is it is that sort of authoritative, knowledgeable voice saying what you should do. And we have to
Yeah,
understand that in our modern world, one of those voices is the capitalistic voice of the companies who are
yeah.
powerful. They have money. They're using psychological warfare in terms of advertising and desire.
Creating desire,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's what you're
They are
dealing with. That's
manufacturing desire.
the manufacturing desire. They're creating this need to express our culture. You know, what used to be a cultural expression
Yep.
into a consumptive expression. And that
Yeah.
is where I wonder, how do we get more leadership in this space? You know, and you do hear, every now and again you'll hear people say, I'm not giving any Christmas presents this year. I'm only donating to charities or something like that. That kind of leadership.
Yeah.
I wonder, which we're not seeing at all in Asia. We don't see that at all here.
I feel like we are so lame, and I use the word lame purposefully because we get so excited. Oh, the Sultan came for Friday prayer. Oh, the Sultan came
Right,
for,
right.
for Hari Raya prayer. The thing is, right, he didn't say an opinion. As the head of religion, he didn't say anything that inspires us to do better.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold us accountable. So, what is the leadership in his presence besides just the fact that he graced us with his presence? I don't get that. I respect the fact that he's wealthy, and that's what generationally has helped him inherit his position. And I guess there's a lot of land that is you know designed for his rule. Besides that, right?
Yeah.
I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a little bit rudderless here because, we have this dominant capitalistic
Mm.
force that's actually driving.
Yep.
The messaging is so powerful that makes you, you know, like I read about the Watson and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. I would like to try one, you know? And it sort of goes on like that. And so every festival starts to be, like Mooncake is a very good example of that. The mooncake, it's like I actually watched it grow. I remember when I first came back, it was nothing as big as it is now. Now it will take over the entire ground floor of a mall, maybe, during Mooncake
Yeah.
Festival. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have all every tier of the market, you know. You will have the cheap mooncake, you'll have the luxury mooncake, and then you have the mooncake, which is really just about branding and presentation, you know.
Right.
Uh, and then, on Facebook, you'll see people showing up the mooncake that their daughter bought them from the Four Seasons.
I remember,
Yeah.
like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Hagen Dazs made an ice cream mooncake.
Okay.
And I think Lyman's dad got like a box of it, like a couple of
Oh, okay.
different mooncakes. And then we were all like clamoring to give it a go because it was like, wow, Hagen Dazs
Yeah,
made
yeah,
mooncake. And I think it was very, yeah, it was very like, wow, the Western world started to adopt
yeah,
our
yeah,
culture. It was very
yeah.
like satisfying. But now it's like everybody's doing it, and it's kind of lost its like,
And they don't seem to
cultural.
see the emperor without the clothes thing because that's what I see when I'm like, but how much mooncake can you eat? You just can't eat too much. It's just too rich, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just eat one quarter of a mooncake and you're done. It's like how can they? I don't know how they can grow that business. Are they growing it purely from the point of view of just FOMO? You don't want to miss out. You just want to
Yeah.
have this. You know, what are you doing?
No, I'm trying to figure out if I have to get Grab for someone.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, what were we saying again?
Yeah, I don't know what drives the sales except for just conspicuous consumption. You know, people just want to photograph and show it on the timeline.
No, but it's also companies just
And
looking
they're giving them
for,
away, the gifts. Yeah.
but it's also producers, people producing the
Yeah.
food stuff, they're
Yeah.
just trying to get more market share. That sometimes the
Sure.
people don't even this is not even their business. They're just
Yeah.
doing it during the season. So there
Yeah.
is all of a sudden there's like a bunch of new players just producing mooncake for mooncake season.
Yeah.
And typically, like old families, like will only buy from certain people, certain makers because they've been
Sure.
around for a long time. It's a
Yeah.
trial and tested thing. But there are also new people who make cookies and make cakes and make all sorts of things just for the season and just puts it out there. So
You
there's also
know,
that lah. They
a
flood
few
the market.
years ago, during one of our sort of green market things, coincided with Chinese New Year, and I asked my assistant guy to, can we track down a real, authentic, old-fashioned mooncake? Like, what is the original, what is the original thing? And which is what I actually still like. I don't like all the snow skin and all that crazy stuff that they do now. Um, I actually just like the traditional stuff, and I just want to eat it once a year. Just once a year, let me taste it. And I particularly like the one that you can't even buy anymore because there's actually a very old-fashioned one that's actually got
Yeah.
pork lard and like nuts in it,
Right.
and
Right.
I love that one. But you actually
Right.
there was only this. I think there's like one or two places in Johor that you could even buy that now. You know?
Okay. So this is what I mean by um the zennials will come in, and they at the moment, because they like to revive old things, right? It's very cool to revive like old recipes and old traditions and stuff like that, because they find a lot of romanticism in it. I think they will bring it back. They will be the ones who will go and dig their grandmother's like recipe books and test it and try it and bring these things back to life if they know what are the things we're looking for, or what were the things of the good old days,
You actually
entailed.
think millennials will do that? Maybe Kuala
Not millennials,
Lumpur.
zennials, the generation after the millennials.
Are you talking about Malaysian ones?
Yeah,
Because I just don't see that level of creativity in the younger ones. They're consumers. They're just incredible consumers. They will buy they will buy things that
am I?
just appear on the horizon. They know how to order it from China. Now they'll order from China now. This is so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, they're not making it. They're not making.
No, no.
They're not innovating,
Because
clothing,
so there's
making.
some kids that I'm working with right now,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've sat with them a couple of times for certain things. I'm kind of coaching them. I kind of fell into it, and just come sit here, bro. And then what is this? So I've been spending time with them enough to know that okay, they are looking at these kind of things, but then they are a little bit artsy. So they
Yeah.
are from the multimedia university, and they are um they are seriously exploring these kind of things themselves. So I'm thinking it is a trending thing.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about Bahara because I don't really know much because it seems so siloed now. It's really within a family or a small group that you actually you might see it. Um, so okay, I have to give my one of my clients is picking up something. Hang on, have you
Yeah,
mentioned?
I think you just call him. You just call him. He's just here in E. You can go and say hi. We are almost done.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I settled lemon.
So actually, so this is quite interesting because
Yeah.
he owns a bar and he
Okay.
buys herbs and stuff on. So this is actually where maybe you do see this new younger.
Yep.
They're celebrating it probably in the same way as Westerners do it. They party, you know. They're going
Yeah.
out, special
Yeah.
drinks, special events,
Yeah.
that's so it's actually not a cultural, culturally focused thing. Like he's not making Chinese New Year drinks. You know what I mean? He's
He's
just
spending time
making
with his
party.
friends.
It's
Yeah.
party because now it's party time. It's holiday
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also which also sort of mirrors what's going on in the Western world. We don't they're not just Christmas themed events,
Yeah.
drinking eggnog. They're just parties, they're just
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year parties.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of a weird thing that we're going to with no respite, it seems, because the drive from the commercial world is just driving this on and on and on and on. The resistance is not as strong, I don't think. You know,
Yeah.
uh, there aren't like I mean, as a someone who does fashion and trend, usually there's a counter. As soon as it starts, as soon as people start to do too much of one thing, there'll be a small group
Yeah.
of people doing the opposite thing.
That's it. To the
You know,
opposite. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then it will go sort of the other way.
Yeah.
But this is a powerful engine that's really difficult to stop. It seems,
Yeah.
and the problem, from a sustainability point of view, is we actually also don't see all the side effects. The pack,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
travel, the
Yeah.
transport, the carbon.
Because everyone's just seeing it from the individual perspective, not as a
Yeah,
collective. And I think this
yeah,
has always been the issue with consumption.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I was asking you about Hari Raya. I mean, for my you have a very traditional kind of Raya. You go back to your family. They cook.
Yeah.
It's like they
Yeah.
cook a certain specific. Do you do the whole everybody wears the same color baju raya and all that stuff?
No, we've never done that. Maybe
No,
when we were
but it's
kids
a new
and
thing.
my in the 90s, when
Yeah.
my grandma would buy the fabric and then it would be my mom not wearing the fabric, but it will be my aunt, me, and my second cousin who will end up in the same like outfit.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
But
Yeah.
you
So
don't you
no, no,
don't.
no. My family doesn't do that same color thing. No, no, no.
So you have like a just a small family gathering, right? How big is it?
I okay, so my grandfather was like the elder in the family. So when we were kids, people would come to our house, to my grandfather's house, and his aunt lived next door, like across a bit of a field. So our house, then her house. So we would have a lot of people coming in and out. And so as children, we would be the wait staff, right? So we'd serve the food, we would clean the dishes, we would put out the drinks. We were those people. And then as I get older and my grandparents have passed away, we go to my aunt's house, which is in Perlis, and she would host. And so it's just my mom, my uncles, my siblings, and my aunt's kids basically. And then they will go to my grandfather's adopted brother's house, which is like 15 minutes away. And then they'll probably go to like some cousin's house in the area, and that's it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So
Yes,
we
it's
don't.
interesting because my Christmas has also deteriorated. When I was a kid, Christmases
Yeah.
were huge, and it was my grandmother would have this gigantic party, which would
Right.
be for almost the entire Eurasian community in Moa. And there would be just this big, like 150 people. It's like dancing, drinking, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And once they were not around, nobody took over. And the family started to break apart. We're in different cities, different countries, and we're not
Yeah.
really getting together, you know?
Yeah.
And then that's what happens with most families now. Maybe they will sort of do a little congregation, and then maybe the parents pass away, and then it
Yeah.
sort of breaks up, you know? So I
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
No, but that's the thing, right? There are certain members in the family who hold space.
Yes, yeah,
Everybody wants to go visit them, you know?
yeah,
They are those people that almost in a way punctuate your timeline. You know, on those visits you feel like, oh, there's so much of memory, or there's just something that you appreciate about it
yeah,
that makes um that day valuable. Because
yeah,
I celebrate Christmas because my dad's side of the family is
sure,
Catholic, right?
yeah,
So for the longest time, we've always gone to my grandma's house for Christmas, or we go to my godparents' house for Christmas. So it's an either or thing. Or we go my grandma's house when she was alive. We go to her house for Christmas dinner, and then we go to my godparents like the day out, the first day of Christmas. Or we go
mm.
there before, and then we leave and we'll come back to my grandma's house. So as young adults, we've always had like duty around Christmas. So for us, although Christmas was very small, we didn't go visiting other people. It was more like going to my grandma's or going to my godparents'
Sure,
house.
yeah,
And it was always centered around cooking. So
yeah,
we would prep food. Like in my grandma's house, she would insist on cooking. So we'll take her to the market. We'll help her set it up. We'll help her wash everything. But in my godparents' house, we would prep the cooking. And so all of that was a bit more ritualistic, but
what
really
did
in
she cook for
essence,
Christmas, huh?
say what?
What did she cook for Christmas?
My grandma,
Yeah.
very Indian lah,
Oh, it's
very Indian
Indian.
food. Yeah,
Is
very
there
Indian food.
anything no, no, so nothing symbolic or what's that?
Nothing Western.
Oh,
Just really nice Kerala style food.
uh,
Yeah.
which is something
So
we
the things
missed
that you wouldn't normally cook
we
on a
missed saying
normal day.
earlier is actually these festivals were actually an opportunity to treat ourselves to something a little nicer, like more meat, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
now we eat that amount of meat every day almost, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It was a
Yeah, so
treat.
that's why we overspend on like cookies and cakes and other things that we don't typically consume
Yeah.
during a normal day. Yeah. So yeah, I remember once my grandmother had someone had sent her, or my cousins had sent her pictures of those cakes where they make them out of those very thin layers, like
Yeah, yeah. Cake
those
lapis.
thin pancakes, cream, and then it's layers and layers and layers. So someone had sent her like their birthday picture with a cake of that nature from Australia. And then my grandma, for some reason, and she never does this, yeah, she showed it to me and she goes like, that cake looks interesting. That's what we have for Christmas. Just because she was curious. It's like nothing really fancy, nothing really specific. But because she mentioned it, yeah. And my grandmother lived to the ripe old age of 85. And every Christmas before that, she was happy and she was healthy. And I mean, she had some pain. She had like really bad back pain. And that last year, I think she fell in the bathroom and that was the end of her mobility. And then she had a stroke very soon after. But yeah, she enjoyed Christmas because
I have to
we
say
would come and busy about the house. Yeah.
I indulge in a little bit of nostalgia at Christmas. So like last Christmas, which has become a habit, I now go to
Mm,
Malacca and pick up.
nice.
I order a thing of tarts, I order a
Yep.
suji cake, and I order a
Yep.
fruit cake.
Oh, you know what my grandmother liked?
Yeah.
Rum and raisin chocolate. So we bought her rum and raisin ice
Oh,
cream once, and oh my god, she loved it. It was so good. Yeah,
yeah.
alcoholic ice cream.
And it reminds me of like particularly the fruit cake because like one of my aunts was just some kind of cake wizard, and she would actually send a little parcel of the cake to the family. And I could
Yep,
remember like sitting around the table and everybody, when the parcel came, we'd all get like a tiny 1 inch square of it. And it would
yep,
be this really dense, fruity, alcohol drenched cake that was,
right.
so it sort of triggers a lot of like memory like that, you know? Um,
Yeah, I think these kind of things, for sure, if it's something that you are used to and it is like something on your experience list of things, yeah,
yeah,
of course it has these memorial like connections,
yeah,
because we are about muscle memory, we are about these anecdotes. That's part of our humanistic values.
yeah.
So yeah.
But also, the another aspect that we kind of really uh, need to factor in is actually positive change. For example, like
Yeah.
like firecrackers. It's illegal, and yet people still do it here.
Oh my god, I hate firecrackers. It
Yeah,
feels like I'm in a war zone
yeah,
because you don't know where it's coming
yeah.
from.
Do you know?
And it's really loud when it's very close. And I feel like when you're in a suburb, it like literally is falling all over you. And oh my god, I really can't. Yeah,
And
I can't
also, I,
imagine how
I have
animals
dogs.
deal with it.
I have
Yeah,
dogs, and it affects the dogs. It affects Tommy. Tommy is really scared of them. I used to have a dog
right,
father before who was just terrified of it. I would actually have to get a box, like a special box for
right.
her to
And
go and hide
help
in.
him shelter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Uh, and yeah, so we're not managing this very well. The
yes,
governance is bad. Uh,
yeah,
it's like, why are we figuring out another way to do it? For example, fireworks in the big, like big grand fireworks is now being replaced by drones. You know, in
right.
like China, you have these beautiful drone displays now that have replaced fireworks.
I guess that's how it will move in at some point. But you probably won't move that way for the masses. I think Malaysia did a drone thing for New Year recently. But it won't be like an individual person wouldn't do a drone thing. They would still go to the firecracker thing because the satisfaction of blowing things up in their own yard is very high. Unless there is regulation where the police are literally doing rounds and stopping people from lighting up fireworks
Which they're
within
not.
neighborhoods.
Which they
Yeah, they're not
don't.
doing it.
They
No, and the
don't.
thing is, when they start firing off at like midnight, to mark the day, that's one thing. But when they start at like 5 in the evening and they keep going till like whatever, and like
Yeah.
there
3 in the
are
morning. Yeah.
communities, yeah, the neighborhoods, right, who
Yeah.
are high, who are so happy to just tell people that we are the most firecracker
Yeah.
driven
Yeah.
neighborhood,
And also
and they're
it's
so proud of inhaling all these like toxic smog. It's so
and it's
insane.
also seeping into other cultures. Like now at the Deepa Valley market, there's actually last this one I went to, one stand is selling only fireworks. I never
Yes,
Deepavali never used to have fireworks, right? Even Malay
Hari
Hari
Raya
Raya
never used to have fireworks.
is
It
a
was
new thing.
sparklers,
Christmas also was just sparklers. Now it's
right?
all the festivals with
Look at handsome at the back. So handsome.
he is handsome. Yeah. Uh, oh,
Oh
nice
my
to
god,
see
these
that.
guys will hide under my bed. A duvet. They will hide under my duvet. They'll climb on the bed and they'll hide under the duvet. So I'll have 3 lumps under the duvet during like firecracker times. Yeah. I don't know lah. They suffer the most lah.
So what are you doing for this Hari Raya? Will you go somewhere?
No, I'll be here. My
Okay.
mom will be here. My niece will probably be here at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I think my brother and his wife will come up. And I think my aunt and uncle will come for Hari Raya Haji. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Okay,
Hari Raya Haji.
that's something else we didn't talk about is actually the travel involved with these as
Yeah,
well, which is
it's
also
so insane.
kind of crazy, right?
It's not just time cost. It
Yeah,
is tedious because you're sitting in like standstill traffic for hours
yeah.
and you can't pee. You have to eat packed food. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And it's a 1 week affair, right? It's
Yes,
Chinese New Year week now, right? You can't get a
Yes.
ticket. You can't, all that kind of stuff. Kata is gonna go up to Perlis, Kedah, which is where he's from.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
And what a pilgrimage. So I don't miss any of that kind of stuff, you know.
But I guess, how do you say, it's like, if you've not met your family for a while,
I
your
guess.
coming home means a lot.
Yeah.
I've celebrated Hari Raya abroad before. I never felt lonely about celebrating abroad, but I saw how it affected my Malay friends because I lived in the hostel. So I was used to living away from my family. But for my other friends who were not used to living away from their family, being away for an extended period of time in a foreign country with foreign food
Yeah.
and foreign culture was one thing. It stressed them out a whole lot more that they were not home with their family for the fasting season, for the Hari Raya. So this Hari Raya di Perantauan was a huge thing. It was really nice to meet up other Malaysians and go to Malaysia House or have our own gathering because then food was amazing. Somebody in the group will know how to cook, and the rest of us wash dishes, prep food,
Mm.
and clean the plates. So it is nice when it is valued that way. And money
Yeah, I have to
because you
say,
become very creative and you use
yeah,
everything.
I have to
But
say,
when you have too much access,
yeah,
that's when it becomes waste. That's when it becomes, the gratefulness is gone. It just becomes mindless expense and
yeah.
mindless wastage. And
I
I think
I
that's the
enjoy
sad
I
part.
enjoy going to Hira at my gardener's house because as refugees,
Mm,
it's much more meaningful to them. First of all, it's meaningful for them to invite me.
yes.
Because
To share their
I
culture. Yeah.
remember like the first time I got invited, like it was because they had settled. Before he was not
Nice.
married, living with 10 other men, whatever, and then he's now
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
wife
yeah.
in a
Now
little
he's
house.
got play.
So now
Yes.
he's got a place, and so it
Yes.
was like a great amount of pride.
And he's
And then,
yes.
yeah, and then there's also cultural expression. Like, so I've now been for like 3 Hari Rayas, I think, and I noticed that
Right.
it's actually the same thing. They eat the exact same thing.
Right.
It's the same meal.
And it
So
could be like what you were saying
yeah, it's
about the
very
wine
symbolic.
plates and all
Yeah, yeah,
that.
it's very, very
Yeah, it's a
symbolic. Yeah,
memory that
yeah.
yeah.
So one of them is actually they make like a sort of a meat curry with a
Mm.
very small potato, but it's a potato that they buy actually from someone who's bringing it from Myanmar.
Wow.
It's like a small potato, so it's really meaningful. It's they're eating their
Yeah.
homeland kind of a food
Yeah.
thing. Uh,
Nice.
it's also the expression of that they have the money to be able to
Yeah.
present you with a nice meal. You know,
Yep, yep, yep.
I remember the first time I went, it was actually quite funny because
I think it's also a way to introduce their wives because the wives are typically cooking. So it's like,
which is also a very mixed experience. We've had wives
yeah.
hiding behind curtain. We have had
Yes.
wives coming out and going, "Put more food on this plate," and it's like it's quite
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
interesting range. One year we went actually me and Nakata we went and we arrived and they brought out all this fruit and we were like, oh, is this maybe they had other guests because I don't know about you but we tend to eat fruit at the end of a meal.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a thing to serve the guests of fruit when they arrive. So we arrived, they served the fruit, we didn't touch it, and they were like all
Okay.
like looking at each other, like all worried that we didn't like it. And they're like hiding, talking and taking it away. So I actually had to ask them, oh, were we supposed to eat it?
Right, right,
So
right.
now
No,
so
because
now so
I
now
think
I know.
they
Now I
they
know to
don't
eat it.
realize that we don't understand the culture. It's
Yeah, yeah,
got, it is
yeah,
new to us that
yeah,
that is how they present,
yeah.
the
So
process
now
of
I
their
do, and
dining.
I understand now it's for a traveling guest to cool
Yeah,
down.
to have something sweet and
Yes, yes, yeah, which
yes,
is funny.
hydration. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
sweet. That's quite nice. It's like a
mm.
welcome drink, but it's a
Yes,
welcome
it
fruit.
is. It is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice. Very cute.
yeah. Okay, and do you eat certain things for Hari Raya? Does your mom cook very specific things?
So my mom makes what do you call the satay kuah, the peanut sauce. So she makes
Ah,
peanut sauce with daging.
oh,
So that's like something that she makes.
oh,
She makes daging hitam, which is something quite
Okay.
new because she
Yeah,
never
you
used to make that before.
okay, yeah.
So that's something quite new. In the past, my mom's made like so my mom used to my parents used to cook for Hari Raya in my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
So when my dad was alive, up till like 96, they would host like what do you call that? Puri or roti jala or biryani for Hari Raya. And then the close family will come and they will do a barbecue on that first Hari Raya
Mm,
night. So it's like just like my mother's siblings and stuff. And mind you, my mother is 12 years older than her younger set. So my mom and her brother, the first two are 12 years apart from the second two.
okay.
So when they were married in their 20s, these guys were teenagers.
Mm,
So my dad would do a barbecue because his younger in-laws, it was like a thing, right? This Indian guy making barbecue, it was like a thing. So
right.
that tradition went on in my grandfather's house for a very long time until my dad passed away. And then my dad passed away, and we kind of dropped the barbecue thing because
Yeah,
nobody could like man it, and it was just tedious. And in a way, it was my dad's way of like being functional but hiding out safely behind the barbecue grill.
yeah.
So it was
Actually,
his
that
adaptation
changes over
measure.
time. I remember, like, when I was really young and the Christmas with my grandparents, it was actually quite
Right.
specific and it was very Western. It was like all these tinned things. There'd be a pie, there'd be a roast
Yeah.
chicken. It'd
Yeah.
be very specific, very Western. But
Yeah.
in our house, my parents' house, when I was, you know, 10 to 13 kind of thing,
Yeah.
it was actually when uh I think there was actually more intra-community dishes.
Mm.
So there was actually cookbooks. There was the Ellis Handy cookbook. So we actually cooked rendang for Christmas because we would have a big
Right.
open house and we would make rendang. I remember because I think the Akwan used to be really good at making rendang. Make popiah, which is a
Popiah. Oh,
Chinese,
nice.
thing.
Lyman's mom loves to
Yeah.
make top hats.
Oh, I love those.
She,
Is it high
yeah,
tea,
she
right?
will fry all those little hats like
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
day before Chinese New Year, and she'll keep
yeah,
them in a Tupperware. And
yeah,
then on the day, we will like chop and grate all the little bits that go inside the
yeah,
top hat. And
yeah,
then there'll be like one dulang of top hats.
yeah, yeah. I
And
love that.
it's like his mom's
Pai
thing.
tea, you're talking about pai tea, right?
Paiki, yes,
Yeah,
paiki,
yeah. I
yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
his
you
mom
know what?
loves making spicy.
That's actually a very modern thing.
Is it?
Yes, it's actually a Western thing. It's a Scandinavian thing that somehow found its way here
Ah,
and it became a Chinese thing. Yeah. Okay,
right.
I think we are up at our hour. Um, so you're gonna have I think, and a deeper dive into this, right? And maybe come up with an article.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can. We'll do. I'm so
Okay.
sorry, lah. I just have a lot of text today. Yeah, it is what it is.
All right.
Yeah. Cool beans.
Okay.
See you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.